Hello everybody, and welcome to another top 5 board gaming video. Today we're talking all about games that are suspenseful and tense. Now, let's face it, every single game, to an extent, has this concept of you're not quite certain if you're making the right choice, you're anxiously awaiting to see what your opponents are going to do, or what card you're going to draw, all of that kind of stuff. It's always going to happen, but these particular games, for me, have that in spades to the greatest extent. And so I absolutely love them. I love having that feeling of my heart pounding in my chest and just being uncertain of what's going to happen and being so excited when I'm able to win, or even if I don't. But regardless, that said, let me know anything and everything you guys think in the comments below. What are your favorite picks for this, or is it something that you don't like because it stresses you out too much? Regardless, we're gonna hop right in with my number 5. At number 5, I've got Cockroach Poker. So this is meant to be a party game, but the fact is that it can get super intense with people. This is essentially the inverse of a set collection game where you don't want to collect a set of things, and it's all about bluffing. The idea is that you pass a card to somebody and say what it is, and then they say whether or not you're telling the truth about it. If they call you out, you get the card. If they're wrong, then they get the card. The idea is that somebody loses when they get a set of cards in front of them. It's great for a whole lot of people, and it actually gets super suspenseful and tense when it starts coming down to the final people and you've got, 2 or 3 of the same card, and you might get that 4th and you're just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. But that said, it's still very much a party atmosphere. It's still meant to be relatively light, and so that's why it's so low on the list. Cockroach Poker, my number 5. At number 4, I've got War of the Ring. Now, this might seem like sacrilege putting it so low on the list because there's a lot of suspense going on with this between the Nazguls and the hobbits trying to make it to Mount Doom, and the forces of Isengard fighting against Gondor and all of that and all of this kind of stuff going on. The fact is that there is suspense everywhere in this game, but in a way that kind of spreads it out, and so overall it becomes a little bit less tense, and it's more tense for the individual players and what they are specifically doing, rather than having the overall group being, oh, we're not sure what's going to happen, we're not sure what's going on, all this kind of thing. And so it's still a wonderful game and wonderfully suspenseful. Of course, J.R.R. Tolkien based Lord of the Rings, all of that great stuff. Wonderful game, lots of fun, and my number 4. At number 3 is me cheating, because I have 2 games. I have Twilight Struggle and I've got Watergate. The fact is that the tenseness and the suspense within these 2 games is very, very similar, not to mention the fact that they take place during similar eras of history. Of course, Twilight Struggle being the US versus the USSR and trying to control all different locations all around the world, playing cards. What is my opponent going to play next? What card are they holding, or cards are they holding? All of this sort of thing. And then Watergate being, of course, about the Watergate scandal with the Republican Party breaking into the Watergate Hotel and stealing a bunch of documents. One person playing as a newspaper editor, the other people playing as the Nixon administration, trying to stop them from getting evidence. You have a lot of wonderful, intense moments in both of these games. In Twilight Struggle, you've got dice rolls to see if your coup is going to work. In Watergate, you've got the card draws and you've got all of this kind of stuff, seeing, are they going to get the evidence? Can I stop them from getting it? And it's absolutely wonderful in both of these games. Again, having a very, very similar feel with very similar eras, although I will say Watergate is a much simpler game. So if you want to pick one, go with Watergate. If you want a more intense game, then GMT with Twilight Struggle is definitely the way to go. Regardless, both of these games, I couldn't decide, are my collective number 3. At number 2, I've got Battlestar Galactica. This is a game that at first glance wouldn't seem like it would be super intense, but the fact is, it's ridiculously intense. Are you going to be able to make that jump? Who are the Cylons? If you are a Cylon, are you going to be able to stop the good guys from making this stuff that they need to do? Can you stop them from making the repairs? Can you do the sabotaging throughout the game? In the middle of the game, are you going to become a Cylon? Who knows? Nobody knows. It's absolutely insane. It is so much fun. It is ridiculously suspenseful and a tremendously fun game. The tragedy of this is that you cannot get it anymore. It's out of print because I believe Fantasy Flight lost the rights to the IP, but that's a whole other story. Regardless, Battlestar Galactica, an incredibly tense co-op game with some great betrayal mechanics, a lot of fun, lots of suspense, and my number 2. At number 1, I've got Dead of Winter, another co-op game that has the potential for a traitor, but in this case the idea is that you're trying to survive a zombie apocalypse, and there's nothing quite like the feeling of being out searching for supplies while you can see back at home base zombies piling up outside the gates trying to bust their way in, while you're running out of gas and food and everything else, while at the same time worrying about the betrayer and knowing whether or not they are out there as well, and of course at the same time the crossroads mechanic and hoping that you make the right choice if whatever the card is applies to you. It is absolutely insane, and it is so tense and suspenseful, and it does a wonderful job of showing that feeling and getting that feeling in everybody at the table. I am literally getting goosebumps just talking about it. It's an absolutely incredible game, and there's also Dead of Winter, what is it, Endless Night? Something like that. I don't remember. It's somewhere along here, somewhere around here. Or The Long Night. It's another great sort of, not quite expansion, sequel type of thing to this game, but the original is absolutely wonderful to get some excellent suspense. Highly recommend it, and that's why it is my number 1. Well, everybody, that's going to be it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video on my top 5 favorite suspenseful and tense games. Again, this is a not unique concept in games because every single game is going to have that moment of, am I going to win this battle? Will I be able to draw the card that I need? Whatever it happens to be, do I get that good dice roll? But these particular games, for me, have it much more than others. And so I absolutely love them, and they are tremendously fun for me. But that said, of course, I want to know what you all have to say. What are your thoughts on the idea of suspense and intensity in games? What are your personal favorites? Let me know anything and everything in the comments below, because you know I love to hear it all. And incidentally, here's Dead of Winter Long Night. I told you I had it up here somewhere. That said, as always, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at my various social media pages where you can interact with myself and my channel in a whole bunch of really fun ways. And of course, if you're still in an area that has COVID problems, stay safe, go out, get vaccinated, do all of that stuff. Please do it for us. We are winning gradually. We will get back to normal, although it will be hard to get some games because of freight issues, but that's a whole other problem. That said, thank you so very much again for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.